We're talking Welcome to Derry, episode 6, In the Name of the Father. We finally get our answer to Ingrid's backstory, finally understand what she has to do with Pennywise and what's going on with that. We get the answer to Hollerin's box we talked about a little bit last episode and what his box actually does and how they can use it to find what they're looking for. And also, we finally get the start of the Black Box incident. This is Minor League Films here. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Got my guy Scotty here with me, and let's jump into it. So, Scotty, episode 6 we go a little bit back in time, about 27 years or so, to 1935 Juniper Hill, and we see a kid who gets waken up by a lady, looks a little bit familiar, like Ingrid that we've come to know, and takes her down to the basement saying, don't be scared. And what happens when they get down in the basement? The red balloon pops up and Pennywise walks out the shadows right into them. So we start to get our it's a little bit of a flashback there, but we start to get our little moments with Ingrid and Pennywise, who people have talked about. They said they might be Pennywise's daughter. I don't think either of us like that theory of the actual entity, but we started to get some stuff going there. But we flash back forward, and we'll jump back into that later. And it opens up with Leroy cussing out Will, who deserved every little bit of it.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, Will shouldn't have left. He didn't just leave. He left to do some dangerous shit. Mabel in that first scene, the little girl's name is Mabel, and Ingrid's walking her down the stairs. I knew something was off there because Ingrid look at that balloon, but she didn't look at the balloon like she was scared. She looked at the balloon like, "Ooh, I like balloons. Let's see where this is going." I was starting to like Ingrid. Now I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's some question with Ingrid, but we'll get some answers here. Obviously, like I really enjoy that moment because we said at the end of the last episode, we said, yeah, Will's gonna get his ass whooped when he get back, as he deserved, and everything he got in the first few minutes of his episode, he really deserved. Obviously, putting himself in, and obviously Hanlon's parlor got killed. Obviously, Paulie's back there like, kid, you should have stayed your ass home. But Leroy cusses him out, obviously, and then obviously he slaps him. Will's like, "Yeah, I got to get up out of here." To how he was able to get on his bike and leave the house. That was the one
Again?
moment of there. It was like, that's not gonna happen.
No, not again. Right after that, you go to your room. If he has a room on that base, you go to your room, sir.
Yeah, and the
Please.
door might not still be on that room.
Yeah. Like I couldn't do that. My mom saying you can't go out no more. My room is right next to my mother. She's that strategically. My room was right there. I couldn't do shit.
No, most definitely, yeah. That you get threatened a lot growing up and say that door will come off and your room will just be open. So that would definitely happen at that moment. But moving on in the town, Hank Grogan, his posters go up everywhere as he escaped. We talked about the end of last episode. He met with Ingrid, obviously got some help from Charlotte, and he's on the run. And obviously, the mob's starting to look for him. A lot of the comments we had on last episode was talking about this is leading up to Black Spot. Talk about the bus attack, and we'll jump into a little more later. But yeah, this is all leading to Black Spot and the racial tension, and we're getting a lot of that in this episode. We get back with our, I guess, old version of the losers. Somebody got on me for calling them the losers, and I'm like, it's just so you know who they are. They're not the losers, but this is the group we have, and it's an easy reference for that. So, yeah, a lot of falling out with this group. Obviously, Lily goes to lead them down there, which was not the best idea. Obviously, Pennywise / Maddie convinced her to go down there, which we knew was a bad idea, and they had done to defend themselves. Green lighting, though, they were able to find the crystal. So we were able to talk about the crystal and the fact that Pennywise is scared of it. But obviously, Ronnie and Lily are arguing a lot because they just put them in a bad situation.
Yeah, Ronnie kind of goes off on Lily like, bitch, I should have, excuse me. Ronnie kind of goes off on Lily and says, girl, I should have left you in Juniper. I wish you would have stayed in Juniper. Then none of this would have happened. And Lily has nerve to say, I was trying to save you. You know, you weren't. My dad is on the run. All because of you. So Ronnie was a little bit harsh there, but we understood where she was coming from. And then Will goes to comfort her, and you get a little bit of a moment there. I enjoy it. There's a lot of moments in the episode I enjoy.
Yeah.
Not to mention, guys, I gotta say before we keep going on, the soundtrack for this series reminds me of me being in my grandfather's old 1987 Plymouth driving home from school. If y'all get a chance, y'all need to look up Manfred Man, Do Why Diddy Diddy. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I think the show has had especially in this episode, a lot of good moments between characters. We've got it throughout the series, but yeah, I mean, and it makes a lot of sense. Obviously, you go through something traumatic as they just went through. There's gonna be some falling out, and we talked about it with Will and Hanlon back on the base. Obviously, characters we get Hanlon and Hollerin later on. There's gonna be a lot of falling out coming out of this event, which is very natural. Like these kids are like And I think one of the big moments is, and you brought it up between Will and Ronnie, is
Mhm.
basically she's just scared at this point. She has
Yeah.
nothing to do. They talk about they can't sleep at night, which is very obvious. We really see them during the day, so we really don't get those parts on screen. But they were talking about how we're afraid all the time. We can't sleep. We don't know what to do. Obviously, they're the militaries and backing them. Like they're in town just over there for open season for Pennywise at this point. So they're scared. They don't know what to do. And obviously, Rich talks about he's like, this Pennywise would want us to have some level of falling out so we all separate, which happens throughout this episode. But that's really just what's going to happen. There's no other way that would be logical for them to come together and just be like, oh, kumbaya, we agree. It's like, no, your idea is to take us down there. Well, this happened because of this. Well, this happened because of that. So I do like that this feels like a very real world reaction to something that's not real at all.
Yeah, and like I said, there's going to be some falling out there, maybe not as harsh, but with the falling out, which the best part about that is that two of those characters really come close, and that's Rich and Marge. And I didn't like Marge at first. She was a follower of the group, but Marge is starting to become likable now. So I'm like, her actress is doing a good fucking job. She's
Yeah.
enjoyable. The moments she had with Rich is enjoyable, just like the moments Ronnie and Will had were enjoyable. So the groups are kind of split into two and two,
Yeah.
and even then, stellar acting.
Yeah, no, I think the acting is good. I think Ronnie will have a really good moment there. And I talked about very real life. The mom coming in just to interrupt them in the middle of a moment and get your ass in the car. It's definitely a real life moment there. So I thought that was funny, just ruining Will's game. He's
Mhm.
finding he's really coming into his own, getting a little game there. And of course, mom shows up just to ruin that, which is
Mhm.
pretty funny. So moving on, we get Hollerin, who got out of the tunnel the least. Supposedly he was in there for hours. So what actually happened while he was in there after everybody else either died or was all over the place, no one really knows. But he makes it back to the bar, and obviously he goes straight to the bottle, which is
Yeah.
clear because after an event like that, what else you gonna do besides drink? So he goes to the bottle. Obviously, he gets back and they're like, "Hey, we got something to tell you." Hank is now hiding out at the Black Spot Bar, which will lead into events later. And Charlotte helped him get there. So obviously, a lot of things are setting up that we talked about when I told you a lot of the comments were pointing to this. So we're having things kind of move forward here, and we'll get back to Holler in a minute. But as you talk about with the kids, I mean, Rich and Marge are having some Hall of Fame moments in here. They're getting really close, and it's really nice to see. And also Rich, who is slowly becoming one of my favorite characters in here. He's not quite at the top yet, but he's moving his way up. I just really like that kid. I think he's good. I think he's charismatic, and he moves forward. And he's logically like, look, I'm with you. We're all scared. There's nothing we can do. And I love that they don't have to show up, but he's like, yeah, I'm still hearing stuff out the pipes. Like that moment where he tells Marge, like, yeah, I don't even go to the bathroom at night. I just pull a jar and I use the bathroom in there because I don't even want to go in there. And he agrees with Lily. He's like, look, at this point, we've already gone in the tunnel. We didn't have a way to defend ourselves. She now has this crystal that she says can help us out. Like maybe the best thing for us to do is just go back in there and try to kill him now that we know we have something that can attack it.
Yeah, that's the only logical thing they have because to them the adults aren't helping, and really it's true. None of the adults are really helping, other than Will's dad, and he's not helping. Like he has his own ideas or what plan he's going to go with. And Marge and Rich have a couple good moments. So they have a good moment in the cafeteria when Marge is ready to get rid of the patty cakes. They have the moment when Marge needs to redress her eye wound, which her eye
Yeah,
doesn't even look that bad. To
yeah,
like willing, like what happens to her,
yeah.
it looks pretty good for that, for trying to cut it out. And Rich is able to take the bandage off with her by licking his finger. I thought that was a good moment. And they have moments in the bar when Rich is jamming out on the drums. Who knew he had it in him? So and
Yeah,
Rich is
obviously.
reasonable out of the group. He's really reasonable, and he's also pretty blunt in what he says. So he's pretty
Yeah,
straightforward.
yeah. He
He's
says what
the
he's
only
thinking.
straightforward member of the group. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, he says what he's thinking. I like that. I like Rich a lot. And we'll get to them a little more later. But we have one of the bigger moments in the show, kind of moment we were waiting for. So Halen goes to find Holler, and he's obviously in his military barracks. I'm just in there drinking, chilling out, hanging out, and we get an explanation of what the box does. We talked about it a little bit last week, but it did get cut off with the technical difficulty.
Mhm.
But basically, he says this. Basically, for the traumatic things he sees, he's able to put in the box. So dead things that he doesn't want to see, it goes in there. And he talks about his grandma who had just a little bit of what he has, not as strong, but she had a little bit, and she kind of trained him to be able to put those things away. And a really important thing is he says Pennywise was able to go into his mind when he went into the tunnel and kind of force that box open, being able to, now he can see everything. He can't hide to it. And another important part is like, he can see everything that's dead around him. I think that's going to come to play a lot with all the kids that have died and probably still hanging around Derry, because as he said, the dead goes where they die, and they just hang out there and just be around. Also, too, he acknowledges that like he can't talk to the dead, because if he doesn't acknowledge them, they don't really bother them. But if he says, hey, like starts talking to them, starts asking them questions, they don't never stop talking to him, and it's kind of a traumatic thing for him. Hanlon obviously comes in and he's like, look, he's still more about the mission, because I think Hanlon, while he doesn't have fear, I think it's kind of a thing where he's like afraid where things might go if Pennywise is still out there and able to do what he does. Obviously, he's got his family out there, but he's a lot more committed to the military, which we don't get a lot of military moments in this episode. And I think that's good. Bringing back, seeing the fact that last episode had so much of the plan and the military stuff is kind of just to move the show forward. But we kind of are getting people's reaction and kind of where they're going to go after this. Hanlon going to the bottle, the kids making plans, obviously, or Hollerin going to the bottle, the kids making plans, Hanlon kind of still trying to figure out like, hey, how can we get rid of this thing and complete this mission? So we got a lot going on there, but Hanlon's kind of pushing Hollerin. He says, hey, like, if you can, use these powers, we can talk to the dead. And Hollerin had said the dead know stuff that the living doesn't, and the living shouldn't know. And he says, well, can they give us answers to what we're looking for? And Hollerin obviously kind of bites back, because he's like, yeah, probably they could, but also you have no care in the world for my well-being at all. And the fact that you don't care and I got to deal with this is the powers that I've been given. You don't know what it's like to go through it. And obviously, like, if I'm not able to figure this out, like, this is something I'm going to be dealing with for a long time. And I don't know if I can just close the box like you think I can. So I thought it was a great moment between those two.
Yeah, and I like how it's a little bit contrast to the characters, because I didn't think that what's the dude's name? I can't remember.
Hanlon, yeah.
What's his first name?
Hanlon, but I just call him Hanlon because
Hanlon. Hanlon is. I didn't think he would be so military pro now. I knew he was in the beginning, but now after seeing everything, I was like, oh, he's gonna throw them away. But he kept on saying the mission. He's still talking like he's a major, like it's all about the mission, even though I can tell like it's skewing a little bit to protect his family, because now his family has seen it, even though his wife hasn't said much. And then Howard is just kind of like, man, fuck you, fuck the military. Like, my box is open. Pause. My box is wide open, man. Pause. So he's like, he took my box. He took it from me. And all my secrets are laid bare. A lot of pauses in here. And he's just like, man, fuck you. And Hanley even says, man, I'm your commanding officer. He still got that military mindset. And then Howard's like, but I don't give a fuck. We just ran to a 7-foot clown dancing on our dead soldiers' friends' bodies. I'm good. You get no help right now. I'm like, go back and find this shit. I'm trying to move. I'm trying to get out of the military now, today.
No, I mean, yeah, you really don't blame him at that point. And I do. Hanlon is really by the book in this series, and I feel like we would get probably a different Hanlon if he didn't feel like his family was still going to be in danger, or if he felt like, oh, they can contain this thing. I think Hanlon feels like, while this thing is kind of stuck here, like, it is kind of a danger to everyone wherever you are. And I think he feels like now that we've seen it, now that we've experienced it, it's going to, even though we know it can't really track them down and you will forget about it if you left, I think he feels like, no, this is still a threat and we need to take this thing out and, for life's sake. So interested to see the differences there. And I do like that those characters are so much different and we get to see them interact, because it's led to a lot of really good moments in the series. So outside of them, we get Hanlon going back, and like you said, he's all about the mission. He pulls that shit with Charlotte too, and she's like, oh, hell no.
She's like, and she says, we going back to Shreveport with or without you. How didn't she give him a little bit of time? It's like, yeah, you got a day. We're going back tomorrow. She ready to go. And then she says she's also going to take, which I like, going to take Hank with him and get him out of the town. I like that too.
Yeah, she's done a lot basically with the civil rights in the show, and obviously I like that it's kind of sprinkled in. We don't do to, and I think this show, even though that we're sort of leading into this black spot, which is a racial incident, I think they found a lot of good ways to kind of sprinkle that in, but not go where it's over the top. It's kind of just like little like even the sheriff, who we really shouldn't like the sheriff, but we're like, kind of get where he's coming from.
He ain't that bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, he ain't that bad until this episode. He's
yeah.
like, that's this episode. He's kind of like, yeah, well, full on clan. It's like, damn.
It really feels like he's kind of doing that just to get his job back. Like he's like, look, I don't really care to get after hanging like that, but if I got to do that for my status, you got to do what you got to do. And we'll get into
Yeah.
that a little later. But yeah, no, I think I think they do a good job of sprinkling the racial elements into this without letting it take over the show because I think there's nothing bigger than a 7-foot clown walking around killing kids. Like that's kind of as big as a threat we're gonna get. But I think they do a good job of having those little parts. And like, yeah, Charlotte's like, yeah, we're getting out of here. You're good with me, but obviously you hit Will, which Will deserved to get slapped for what he said. I was talking about like I wouldn't let my friends die. And he's like, yeah, all right, how about this? Wow. So so he kind of deserved that. But I like that we have a little bit of dynamic in the family and they're kind of figuring out how to do this. And Charlotte's she's kind of in the middle here. While she can see Pennywise, and we were able to see that last episode, she really doesn't know what happened down in the sewers, and she doesn't really know how Will feels about it and his friends. I think she kind of gets it, but I think she also kind of gets like not the military point of like just stick to the mission, but I think she still kind of understands like that Leroy obviously he's going through something, he's seen something crazy, he doesn't know how to process it, and he's trying to figure out the best way to go about it. And I think, and I like that moment where she was like, well, you're good with me. Like, I understand what's going on, but you need to make it up with your son because he doesn't understand what you're doing. I thought that was a really good moment.
I also like the part where she berated her husband for hitting their son.
Yeah.
Don't see that a whole bunch either. Like, especially back then, you would think that the wife would just be, hey, you did something wrong, you get hit. That is discipline. That's the only discipline we really know. I like that she came in and said, and you hit our son for what? You didn't have to do that. And then Hamlin says, oh, he didn't know what else to do. I kind of like that old school dynamic with a little bit of a twist where she's on her son's side and her husband's side at the same time. Like you said, right there in the middle, understanding both sides, even though she doesn't understand everything going on. Like they wrote her well as a wife.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's just a centrally like strong character, and I like that because it's like that's my family. I can't just be on his side or his side. You know, I got to find a way to keep everyone together. So,
and you don't see that a whole lot. Like you usually see if a role like this, so you see the wife, just the wife and the husband. The son's doing whatever he's doing. She sticks with the husband, but they wrote I keep saying writ. They wrote her really well to be a wife and a mother. You see both qualities. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and just a strong woman in her own right. So I think you hit on a really good point there. So obviously they have their moment. The patty cake moment comes up after that. Definitely you talked about that earlier with Rich and Marge having lunch together. Obviously, their romantic storyline is kind of coming through, and then Marge leaves the patty cakes. I was scared by ripping off her bandage and showing her eye. We also move on. Lily. It's kind of she's like you talked about earlier. It's kind of 2 and 2, and then Lily is the one. She's kind of been isolated by herself. Now, luckily for her, she has the crystal, so she's pretty much good as long as she has that. But Pennywise is also finding ways to kind of get in her mind. Like he knows she has the crystal, he knows she's a threat, so he's kind of solely focusing her and to make her just kind of go crazy and be ineffective and maybe stay. I feel like he's doing it in part to say like, yeah, don't come back to the sewers. Like you good over there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I know we got our beef, but like, you know, just hang out over there. Don't come by me. And you know, I'm just scared you stay at home.
It's a lot of small mob threats in there. He's in her desk. Ooh, it's not the desk. Like, yeah, you better not come back down there. Like you already know what it is. And I was hoping she took the crystal and just shoved it in the desk and closed it. And I was like, oh, we're gonna get the whole scene. I thought she was gonna do that. I said, oh, cool, that'd be cool. But yeah, everywhere she goes, he's like, yeah, I bet you won't come back down these sewers though. Was really good.
Yeah. And also too, I was when that happened, I was thinking about like, can the class see the crystal light up? Like, nobody have a question about that? Because it lit up in the middle class, and I'm like, okay, I get they can't see Pennywise because he's not bothering them, but this crystal's a real object. Like we know it's real, and if it lights up, it lights up.
Yeah, and nobody said, even the teacher was like, Lily James, will you sit back down? Don't stand up. I was like, no one heard her yelling and screaming and then had the crystal dagger in her hand. They just watched her walk out there, didn't say anything. That must be normal for back in the 60s.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we kind of seen the same thing in the store, but it's also my thing of like, we get these moments where he gets in people's head, but it's like, well, I see this person clearly over here bugging out. Like, that's distracting. They're trying to take it. It's like not a lot going on in the classroom. That's distracting. I'm like, nobody seeing this? Like,
Nope.
so it's a little moment in there. But yeah, so she's kind of become isolated as we talked about. Then obviously Lily takes a moment and she goes to she goes to see Ingrid, goes to her house. Obviously, just goes up in there, don't knock on the door. Well, she knocks on the door, I guess, but just opens the door because it's open.
And just
Goes up,
walks through the house and just looking through shit. Just rude.
you
Come
should
on, man.
never do. But she gets in the
Who
house,
raised you?
goes upstairs. Obviously, sees a book with some old pictures in it, and sees some old school pictures with somebody who looks just like Pennywise, or looks like it, who took the shape of Pennywise the clown.
And her father got a big ass head. You hear me? That does not make up her father head, just a big ass head. I see why she was crazy. He had all kind of tumors up in there.
Yeah,
Passed
so
it down.
so we've had a lot of things obviously going on with Ingrid, her backstory. We've guessed it in the show. He's like, is she part of Pennywise? Is she part of Maturin? So what basically we get the answers to. A lot of theories have said this already. Basically, the fact that Pennywise took the shape of her dad. So basically took her dad, killed him, took his appearance, and then has basically gone as Pennywise clown, probably as a clown, just to lure kids in and kind of hold that part because Carnival Circus kids will be around. So just to be able to lure kids in with that. So Ingrid gives her backstory about her time at Juniper Hill. She's been there forever. Clearly, they didn't touch on it in this episode, but there is something more with her because she's just not aging. So, and obviously we don't know what happened. So we get back there. She figures out that she's able to see her dad by these kids, luring them in, and Pennywise will come out and she was able to talk to him. Obviously, she sacrificed a kid early, which that was not very nice of her to do. But she's able to see her dad if she gets these kids around, or the entity of that has a form of her dad and things like that. So I don't know what exactly happened with them when she opened the door and the other kid died, but she now uses this to be able to see her dad because she's crazy.
Yeah. And she said a couple lines in there. She wanted to find a way to free her father. Like she's weird. She's just really weird. And Lily has escaped and cuts her hand. But she says this line that actually is a callback to the It 2 movie. I don't know if y'all remember when Beverly was an adult, went back home, went back to her old apartment. There was an old lady living there. That old lady is Ingrid because she says, you know what they say about Derry, dear? No one who dies here ever really dies. End quote. That's what the old lady says in the second It movie when she goes back to her apartment. So we know that Ingrid is going to survive this show. Or if she's not going to survive, her presence or whatever she is going to be the thing in it too. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think in 2 he just took the shape of her and obviously just did. But yeah, that was her in the movie, and that's her old spot there. Yeah, a lot of things with Ingrid. I mean, obviously she's crazy. She's able to lures the kids in. Now she uses it. I mean, that's quite a threat out there to just being sacrificing kids, but there's just something wrong with her. But obviously I don't know what extra she has going on because she really doesn't age. She's not the daughter of Pennywise like people have guessed, anything like that. But there seems to be something supernaturally going on, and maybe he's able to give her something like that. But like there is no reason, especially you look at Rose. You look at Shaw, like they're a lot older. They appear a lot older than Ingrid does in this show, and they should be 10 years younger, at least 5 years younger. She seems at least to be like a teenager or young adult when they see her at the fair in that episode where we went back to 1908. So something's going on with her. I don't know what it is yet, but definitely we will find that out soon. Getting back into the show. So obviously Lily cuts her hand. She gets up out of there and obviously goes screaming down because Ingrid was the only other person she had. Obviously, she's falling out with the group a little bit. Ingrid was that other person. She goes there and she's like, well, I fell out with my friends and now you crazy. Like anybody else want to let me down? I got my mom. I got you. I got the loser bunch over here. Anybody else want to let me down? And Marge over there on a date while I'm in here running for my life. So a lot going on with Lily, but we get confirmation of some stuff there. From that point on, the sheriff walks back in, who's no longer the sheriff, Scotty, because he got what?
He got canned because he didn't get Hank to the jail. Like it was his damn fault that a fucking 8-foot monster demon took over the bus and knocked it over and killed everybody but him. Yeah, I thought he shifts his dynamic. He was a shitty cop, but still, when he shifts completely, like, you know what? I left the Klan 15 years ago, but you know what? Where's my hood? Give me my hood because you gonna fire me? Nah, they all gotta go. Where's that black spot? I got a tip from a lady, and who knows that tip? I wouldn't think it's from Ingrid, but who else is a lady that could give him a tip? That's a mystery. The
I
only lady I
mean,
can think of is Ingrid. Yo, let me tell them where they at because now I'm going super crazy.
yeah, I mean, she knows where I mean, she knows where Hank is, obviously, so she
Yeah,
could have very well gave him the tip, and she probably did. I didn't really think about that, but
yeah,
yeah,
she's the only one that could.
yeah, she probably did, and then it leads me to even think further. Like, would advantage? I guess. I mean, I feel like the energy
She's
is going to
crazy
survive
now.
by itself, but I feel like he's doing a good amount to help him. But also too, and just going back to that moment a little bit, it also felt like she didn't want anything to happen to Lily.
Yeah.
Which is weird because it's like we know she told Lily not to go down in the sewers, which she did anyway because she knew Pennywise was down there. And
Mhm,
it's like, okay, you're sacrificing kids to see your dad who you're trying to get out, which I don't even know if that's possible,
mhm.
but you're also too protecting Lily. Why? Like,
Maybe that's just maybe she actually got close and cares for her. I mean, Ingrid probably doesn't care for anybody else besides Hank. Maybe she probably genuinely cares for Hank, and maybe she genuinely cares for Lily, but just nobody else.
yeah, that's right. I mean,
Because
more to talk
otherwise,
about
she'd have
that.
taken Lily out right there, throw her against the wall, knocked her out, tie her up, and say, "Here, Dad, shout out."
Here you go, pops. Have fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. So get that moment where the sheriff tells him where to find Hank. We get to the black spot. And there's a lot of great moments in there. Obviously, one, Hank and Will share a really good moment as I think Hank kind of knows he's like, yeah, I might be cooked. So let me find somebody who's going to be able to, take care of my daughter and be around if I'm not able to make it out this situation. So I think there was a really good moment of kind of slowing the episode down and letting them talk and kind of not rushing through it. And obviously, Will's job was to go in there and say, hey, like Ronnie, we should definitely go back down there and try to help Lily out and maybe try to take this thing out. But definitely some really good character moments. Like you said, there's a lot sprinkled out through this show, and the acting has been fantastic. And then, obviously it was almost the Marge and Rich show. As like they get, I don't know why they did this, but serve them alcohol for
yeah,
whatever reason, which
yeah.
I was like,
And Rich is playing the hell out of them drums. That my
yeah,
man needs to be in the band. He got accepted right there. You saw the black people look around and turn around, look out. He
yeah,
was
like you
accepted into every cookout right after that.
got his,
Everybody was going to invite him to the cookout. So I was
got,
like, that's what I'm talking about.
got
And
his cookout moment.
just a good scene. Just a good scene of and back to Will getting to know Hank. I
Yeah.
like that they took and gave Hank a personality that we don't even necessarily all the way see, but he works in the movie theater and he's clearly a movie buff because the first question he asks Will is to get to know him is, what's your favorite movie?
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool moment of him of a callback. Okay, this is another part of his personality. He doesn't get that much screen time, but we know he's a movie buff. So I
Yeah,
thought
it's
that
kind of
was
cool.
really cool.
It was breaking him down as a character. And obviously, he would quiz. We remember go back to the beginning of the season. He would quiz Ronnie on movies
Mhm,
and what came out and when. So he's clearly a movie guy, just like us. So
mhm,
hit that like button, hit that sub button because we're also movie guys. But
yeah,
yeah, it was a really good moment. And that's a good point. Like we haven't really got to hang out with Hank a lot because he's either was working at the theater or he's been on the run pretty much all the series. So that was a good moment to see, like, hey, like he's actually not a bad guy. And it's nice hanging out with him and just seeing, like, he's gone through stuff, but he still finds a way to have a personality moment while he has time because it feels like time is pretty short for him if he's not able to escape successfully. So we get that moment with them. Like you said, Rich plays the drums. We get the Black Club really getting its start here. But unfortunately,
the
end of
black
the
spot. This
episode,
man said the black club.
the black,
Woo!
the black spot, man.
They gonna get. They're about to get you for that.
The Black Club? What's wrong with the Black Club? It's called the
Oh,
Black
they was
Spot.
about to get you. I'm trying to tell you.
All right, anyway, Black Club finally gets going, as I just said. But unfortunately, it was spoiled by a mob showing up at the end of the episode. They show up there, obviously lights and everything, full with clown masks. I don't know what mask they were
Man,
wearing, like doll masks or something.
this is about that scene. The dude with the girl in the front, he wasn't moving fast enough for me. When he saw there was more than one car with the high beams on, it should have been okay. I need to go in there and yell and say there are people outside. That man said, "Hey, sir, you want to turn your high beams down, sir?" And they all got the car with clown masks. What y'all doing here? I said, you know what? He needs to go. You got to get. You're doing the whole military service by killing him. He got to go. He's not aware of his surroundings. Get him out of here.
He was a little slow to react, probably a little drunk.
And then he says, when he sees all the shotguns and rifles, you know what? Just get behind me. No,
that's gonna help. Go inside, tell them to grab straps, because obviously we got a problem here. A lot going on with this. So obviously we know we've been leading up to Black Spot 1962, which is the big event. So we knew that was coming. A couple things here though. One, my thing is how this is gonna go is these are military dudes. These aren't just this isn't the South where it's just a bunch of black dudes hanging out. You just go burn down their club and the police turn a blind eye to it and it all happens. Like the military gave them this property to hang out as a special gift to Hollerin for helping them out. So they can't just I don't care who they are. Like the military is a government. They can't just go there and burn that down and not have some government. I don't care if it's Derry, China, like Australia. Like you can't just go and burn that place down without the military and the government hitting back. So I'm very interested to see how all these things are going to juggle, because it feels like we know there's going to be a fire. They know it's going to burn down, but like the military should have a hand in this, saying, yeah, y'all just can't do that. We round up whoever did this because you attacked our people.
Yeah. I'm going to be so surprised if the episode starts next week and they have no guns in that motherfucker. I'm gonna be so mad if the episode starts out and I see black people in there running and screaming and no one has a pistol, even a Ruger, nothing. I'm gonna be like, turn it off. Turn it off. Y'all all went to the club with no gun. This is y'all, because that is some of their barracks in there. That's some of them use as a barracks. I believe they sleep in there. So I
don't think they use it as a barracks.
They'll sleep in there.
It's just like a hangout spot for them.
I assume that some people slept in there, but I could be wrong. But somebody should have something in case they an emergency call or something.
Yeah, you feel like it's a bar. There's no way they're in there without any guns or any level of way to protect themselves. So they definitely should have that. Obviously, it's about to go down. We know the fire happens, but I'm very interested to see all the things that play here, because you got the military involved. You got these local people involved, the former sheriffs involved. Obviously, Pennywise is holding things down. Ingrid, just a lot going on. So I'm interested to see how this fire happens and the kind of the repercussions of that and the stuff obviously leading into Black Spot. And just like, are these military members going to be part of this race ride, the big event that happens? Because obviously they're going to be, there doesn't seem to be a lot of black people in Derry, and they seem to make up kind of the most of the other bunch that's around. So obviously we get to see some more in this episode, but I thought it was a really good episode. Kind of after the big events of last week and them going down in the sewers, kind of leading us to the rest of that's going to happen in the season. This was episode 6, so we got 2 more episodes to go. But overall, I thought good story building. Still interested to see what's going on with Ingrid and kind of like how much relationship she really has with Pennywise and how far she's willing to go. Obviously, she's willing to go pretty far. We do know that. And obviously, the start of the Black Spot here in what is Hamlin and Hollerin going to do? Because we didn't really get our answers. I think Hamlin's going to push his hand a bit to kind of deal with this threat. But like how much is Hollerin really the risk, because his life is really on the line. So all good. So Scotty, got anything more else on the episode?
No, I'm interested to see how Hollerin is going to deal with now his box being so like spread wide open. I want to see what's going on with this box.
Well, I got to emphasize this box being open. Like, it's just a box.
It's open. The box is open. You saw it opened.
It's open. It just has a cover to it. Anyway,
it's open.
Yeah, the box is open. Yeah, man, like that video. Hit the comments. Everybody, I want to appreciate everybody for the views on the last episode. It did great. I think we're almost at 15K. It's like 14K, something like that on that video. So guys obviously love that. We're keen team with the Pennywise and the Welcome to Derry content. We got more on the way, and obviously Stranger Things. We're gonna get to that. I got to delay this a little bit on the weekend. Sky was ready to go, so a lot of stuff to talk about for Stranger Things. So that is coming up, and obviously what comes out this week? I'm forgetting it. Movie Five Nights at Freddy's Part 2. A movie we're not a fan of in the first part, but we will see if part 2 can win us over. That was one of our OG reviews that we really did not like back before we go to this channel. So yeah.
Oh man, talk about bad cops. Oh my goodness.
Yes, bad cops, and then that one. But we'll get to that. But yeah, hit that like button, hit that sub button, Scotty. If they don't see us, if they want to find us on other places, where can they find us at?
You can find us on Kuronocomics on TikTok, or MLF Shorts on TikTok. That's been posting every day. Or right here on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, but especially subscribe.
Yeah. Well, we're chasing
Okay.
that 1,000 sub mark. We are really closing in on that and pretty quickly now. So
Once
you
we
guys have
get there, we're gonna take a trip to Alaska and film in the ice.
that's not happening.
We're
But there
gonna
is
do
a gift card
it.
giveaway at 1,000 subs. So we do have a gift card contest going on. So hit those commas and we will take a raffle from there, which will be fun. So help you out and show our appreciation for that. We'll not be in the ice or doing
We're
anything
going to
crazy. We'll
Alaska
be
and we're going to ice fish on the ice. Is what we're
But we
gonna do
will
to
be
celebrate.
dropping more content for you as that goes. So again, like button, sub up. Thank you to everybody. Jump in those comments. Can't wait to talk about the show. A lot of conversation going on, a lot of comments in the last episode. So ready for the wrap up of this season, having a good time watching this show, all that good stuff. Next episode next week. And when that comes out, we will catch you next time.
Listen, in Alaska.